What is going on, you guys? Thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Tanner, you're watching Adventure Daily, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about electric bikes. Not the ones with pedals that all these Chinese companies have been sending me. Don't worry guys, I'm migrating that to a separate channel, and I probably won't be doing those reviews as much, but no pedals today. We're talking about electric dirt bikes. What are my thoughts, feelings? With pretty much everything in the world pushing towards electric, dirt bikes are no exception. There's a variety of reasons for that, but I think with motorcycles, the push for electric more comes from the performance gains. You really are able to do some amazing things with electric motors. In the motocross world, things are a lot different, especially overseas. I'm pretty thankful to live here in America where we have a lot of the freedom to ride in these amazing places, and it's not like that across the pond. A lot of the motocross tracks are getting shut down due to noise complaints, and don't get me wrong, the environmental impact is still a big part of this push. My basic understanding is most of the economy level EVs are more beneficial to the environment over a long period of time. There's different graphs out there and ways to break down how many years it's gonna take to offset all of the lithium mining and factory emissions. But like I said, we are steering away from that and just focusing on performance and the fun factor, because that's all I'm interested in. Guys, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. I bought a Stark Varg.
It's the sound of silence. Feeling the speed, the wind, the dirt. Twist the throttle and instantly just cutting through the air. You hear the tires breaking traction and spinning. And just listening for that can actually help you ride. You can be more controlled.
But you can't mention the Varg without talking about the pioneer of the electric dirt bike, which is the ALTA. The company ALTA was founded in 2010 by 3 guys in a garage with backgrounds in business, engineering, and they offered a variety of models over the years, but they were all just different trim levels of their flagship Redshift. Now, unfortunately, I never got a chance to get my hands on one. I was pretty broke at the time, so the ALTA was never an option. And it wasn't even until 2019 when I got the chance to ride my first electric bike at the International Motorcycle Expo. So I tried a variety of models that day, ranging from Yamaha to the Cake bike and the Stealth B52, which was by far my favorite. And the Cake and the Stealth were the closest to the dirt bike style that I got to get. Another couple names that I have to mention is Zero. They've been doing this for a while now, but they just don't have a dedicated off-road model that appeals to me. Electric Motion, that's one that Kyle Brotherson at the Dirt Bike channel just got his hands on and gave his opinions. It's definitely more of a trials bike, so once again, doesn't appeal to me. But the Cake and the Stealth bike, I spent a lot of time at the expo just ripping around the track, and that's where my initial love to these electric bikes started. It was just so much fun. Between the instant throttle response, the torque, and doing all of this in silence was just a really weird experience, but I loved it. I tried to find a good deal on a Stealth B52 or a Cake bike over the years, and nothing transpired. It's such a big investment, and for the total functionality that you get, it was still nothing more than a toy. Now, dirt bikes and motorcycles are more than that to me. They offer a lot of value in my life, but with the range and list of things that you could actually do in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty short. So that same year in 2019, ALTA ran into some financial issues. They had some kind of deal with Harley Davidson that ended up falling through. I think Harley backed out last second with funding, and ultimately it led to ALTA coming to an end. Now, much respect to ALTA, they were the only ones to do it right as far as the dirt bike and the motocross scene. From the Red Bull Straight Rhythm to the Erzberg Rodeo, they really pushed the envelope, and they were the guinea pigs to this world. so much backlash, so many hurdles to climb through, coupled with the financial issues. They really got the short end of the stick, and it's a shame because they had a lot to offer. I think BRP ended up buying the rights to all of their products, probably just to have it. I don't know if they're ever gonna do anything with it. It's just one of those things where whoever's got the most money, they just wanted to eliminate the competition. But the ALTA is gonna lead me into the final topic of this video, which is the Stark Varg. Now, if this bike really happens and it goes into full production, there's gonna have to be some answers from other companies. With the amount of performance and convenience that it's promised to offer, for most people in this space of motocross, motorcycles, they're gonna wanna get their hands on one. And with my love for things electric, dirt bikes in general, I had to put a deposit on one in hopes that I actually get it. So which model did I buy? What options? I'll go ahead and walk you through that. You know, we had to get it fully spec'd out. So we got the 80 horsepower motor, absolutely insane amount of power, especially for the riding that I like to do. So why did I go with that? So one of the biggest benefits to the electronic motor is the tunability. The possibilities are endless with the tuning. So you'll be able to tame down that power quite a bit and make it a lot more usable. So I would rather have a bigger motor that's not working as hard to do the riding that I want to do. Whether that prolongs the battery life or not is to be determined. But if I'm already spending the money, I just wanted to have the best and see what the capabilities really were. And when talking about money, guys, this bike is gonna cost $14,000 if I actually get it. And why I keep saying the if is because the delivery times have already been pushed back. It's estimated in early March of 2024 at this point, so we've got another year and some change. You do have the option to buy these things in full. I don't recommend it. I just put a $100 deposit is all you need to reserve one of your Vargs, and you'll have to pay the rest when that time comes. But with the dates being pushed back and just how far we have to get until that beginning of March, it's just hard to say whether this is gonna actually happen, but so far it's looking good. So getting back to the bike, I won't say which color I got. You guys will have to guess that down in the comments, but I opted to go with a foot brake. It's just something that I'm comfortable with. I'm sure they'll sell a kit where you can just tap into the handbrake anyway, so I just wanted to have the foot brake. I enjoy using it. Another awesome thing about these bikes is you can get them sprung to your weight. That's another big hassle of riding and buying used bikes or even new bikes, is you have to get the suspension done if you're a bigger guy. With gear on, I'm probably gonna be pushing 215, 220 pounds next season. So in the website, you're able to just choose your weight and get it sprung to you directly from the factory, which is really nice. Of course, I went with the Enduro 18-inch rear wheel. I don't ride motocross, so having that smaller wheel, you're able to run a bigger tire. More meat, more traction, just makes sense. So as far as options, that's really all you can choose from. A brief background on Stark. It was founded by Anton Wass. He was also one of the creators of 24MX, which is the largest motorcycle and enduro store in all of Europe. And his biggest drive for taking on this project was the fact that a lot of these motocross facilities are getting shut down due to the noise pollution. The emission laws overseas are very strict as well. So despite his appearance, you always see this guy in a suit and tie. Everything just looks so futuristic, which I just think is a part of their marketing scheme. But for the common rider like me, it just seems a little theatrical, I don't know. But I did like how ALTA just kind of felt pure from the core. Three dudes in a little garage creating something built for the people. But then again, Stark really looks like they have that strong business background. Not only that, but production background. They've shown videos of their facilities and everything just looks insane. So apart from all the money that they have, they really set out on a mission to make the best possible dirt bike out there. And I'm not just talking about electric bikes. They're wanting to make the best dirt bike on the market. And so far, it looks like they have. They specially built every component from the ground up. So everything in-house, completely designed from computer to production, even down to the plastic. This bike is literally gonna come with an Android phone as your display. and you're gonna be able to adjust all of your tuning and do everything right in the bike. From the innovations and patents they've created with the battery design to the motor, 80 horsepower is a tall number, but it looks like they're gonna be able to do it. It really is just straight out of a movie, seeing all of their production shots and Anton just talking about this stuff. It just does not seem real. So over half of the projected customers are gonna be right here in the US. The production is happening in Spain. And I'll go ahead and link some of my favorite videos from Stark in the description below if you're interested. I was not one of them, unfortunately, but they sent a few influencers overseas as well as some top Supercross riders to test out the Stark, and everything has been positive so far. This was pretty early on too, and for them to nail it right off the jump is very impressive. This is their first model, this is their first rendition, and all of the reviews seem to be positive. They were also given like a stock 450 to bounce back and forth with to compare to, and of course everybody preferred the Stark. I know the environment, the track, the bike's performance, everything was groomed towards favoring the Stark, that's obvious. But aside from that, names like Josh Hill and now Ken Roczen, I mean, even they are endorsing this thing. So far, it is looking really promising. So that's enough of the background, enough of the tech side of things. There's way more videos and articles out there. I'll link a few as well in the description. I already told you what I love the most about electric bikes, but the biggest thing and the number one asked question is the range. What is the range? How far can these things go? So this bike is ultimately a motocross bike. It was designed to complete one full heat of the top level Supercross, but that really is operating at the highest level. It does look like it will do that and then some, but for me, I'm gonna be using it for trail riding. And that's where I think the ALTA missed out the most. Well, they did have an Enduro type model. It was just a trim level of their Redshift with a little bit different tuning. The range was just not there for the ALTA. I went to multiple different owners forums and I think they were able to squeeze like 30 to 40 miles if they were being gentle on their bikes. And for most weekend warriors, that's just not gonna be enough. Especially if you're not just riding to the trails out of your back door. If you have to drive hours to some riding place, you're pretty much done unless you want to bring like a 220 volt generator out there to charge, which I think I might actually do. But the ALTA was never really practical for the common man, for the common rider. It was really meant for that top level, and even at that top level, just not a lot of people were interested because at the end of the day, it just still wasn't practical. So ultimately, it was just a toy for the rich. Now, is that the same for the Stark Varg? I would say for now, probably. That's the biggest worry from the purist, is that it's going to replace the gas bike. I just don't see that being the case, at least for the next decade. But just thinking about my childhood and the technologies that I had, I mean, coming from the first generation of the flip phones all the way out to having computers in our hands now, technology moves pretty quick. So I'm curious to see what happens in the next decade. But in my lifetime, I don't ever see it completely replacing the combustion engine. So with my kind of riding, if I'm able to achieve 40 riding decently hard, I'll be a happy owner. I usually set the trip before I ride, and most of the time with the kind of riding that we do, it's slow, it's technical, and it's tough to get that many miles in one ride. We also generally have a break in between where we go back to the trucks, and like I said, it's definitely possible to get a larger generator to charge this thing up and go out and ride again. I believe the charging rate is around 1 to 2 hours for the fast charger, so that is possible. On an hour break, you're gonna regenerate more than half of the battery life, and that's more than enough to finish the day. So I have high hopes that this is gonna work out for my kind of riding style, and the lifestyle that I live is still not gonna replace the gas bikes, especially when you talk about dual sporting or longer range riding, BDR style stuff. It's just not gonna happen. You can't go and fill up at the pump and continue to go, especially in these remote areas. But the Varg isn't meant for that, and it was never intended for that kind of stuff. I'm definitely gonna get a plate for mine though, and do some dual sport and hooligan style stuff. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I really just wish the best for Stark. I hope they nail it out of the park and we can see additional models in the future. I'm sure their next one, they're gonna focus more on the Enduro side of things. But as far as dual sporting, we're a long ways away from making that a reality. But for the weekend warrior that wants to trailer their bike to the trails, go rip, have some fun, I'm really hoping that it works. What appeals to me the most is the lack of maintenance. You're not dealing with fluids, rebuilds. You will lose range capacity slowly over time, but for the most part, these bikes should last with little to no maintenance for a very long time. Pair that with just a completely different riding experience, the absolute silence, being able to hear what your tires are doing, your chain. Like, for the little experience that I've had on electric bikes, I'm looking forward to it. It opens up a lot of possibilities for the gray areas of riding. So that is why I spent $14,000 on this electric dirt bike. Hopefully this really does happen. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is this a bike that would be appealing to you? What are your biggest drawbacks, complaints? And let's talk about some positive things too, as far as electric dirt bikes and the future of everything. Remember when the 4-strokes were coming out, and that was the biggest scare, is that it was going to completely eliminate the 2-strokes. And thank you to the Europeans for still keeping them around. And the combustion bikes are going to be around for a long time. But that's going to do it for today. I just wanted to give you my thoughts, let you guys know that I do have a deposit on the Varg, and yeah, I'm pretty freaking excited. So be sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Drop a comment down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and until the next video, always remember to live free and adventure daily.